performer and director. Together with her collective Polymer DMT, she has made the show Unsolved that can be seen here at Spring. It is a beautiful show that centers around an abandoned family house in Taiwan. On stage we see urban dancer Chi Wen-chung move around life-size white paper walls, and on those walls images are projected of the actual abandoned house that Fang grew up in. Later on in the show, a small model house enters the stage with a movable camera that enters the scaled model. And the image from this camera is projected on the paper walls. It's very hard to explain, but it's all very sophisticated and poetic. Throughout the piece, we hear sort of ambient music and bits of interviews with her family members. And they reflect upon the lives that they have lived inside the house. So with the house as its center, the story unfolds. And it's a big house, 4 stories high, built by grandfather, who has kept a secret his whole life. There's also a grandmother who blamed him for certain things, and there's the story of the adolescent trying to escape the hectic family life, in which there's no privacy, and the adolescent tries to leave and lives in the Western world. And perhaps this is most like Fang's story, we will hear in a few seconds. And then there's the youngest generation, a children's voice with a very different approach to the subject. Now all these sounds, images, dance, text, they're interwoven in a beautiful piece about the concept of home. Fang, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
First, we have to make clear that the story in the show isn't necessarily all your story. It's a group work together with a group of great artists.
Right.
Can you tell me how the project is developed?
We spent around 1.5 years to develop this project, and from the very beginning, we. Of course, the first idea, talking about home or talking about identity, is coming from me. But from a very early stage, I asked the artist to work with me. Mm-hmm. And we were all in Taiwan in this old house and visiting and collecting all the materials from the house. And I think in this space, it trigger also the same resonance from the team, and we have certain base for our each different elements to create or to develop, to create different speciality for the work.
Right.
Yeah. Then during the work, of course, we start to combine together, and sometimes we try A with B, and sometimes B with C, or like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
So you all went to the same house, which is actually the house that you grew up in.
Right.
And there are makers from all different countries and different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds.
Right.
So they all have their own perspective on...
Exactly. And not only the research period was not only visiting the old house mm-hmm. where I came from, mm-hmm. but also from our stage designer Chen Ting. She is also coming from Taiwan. Okay. We also went to her old home, let's say, but this place is not anymore belong to the family. So we were around and looking at the area, and then she told us about her story as well as Zhiwen. So it's like a touring. It's a tour to go through each childhood memories.
Right.
Yeah.
And were there also other abandoned houses? Is an abandoned house, is that a common thing in Taiwan in a way? Because
I guess there are quite many of these cases in Taiwan. In certain point, I wouldn't say abandoned, because I guess it's just really like an unsolved issue there.
Which is the title of your show.
Exactly, mm-hmm. Exactly. Because we also had the performance in Taiwan already, and some audience they gave us feedback that they feel very close to the story, and that they share with us that they have same problems for their family, or so it's not very uncommon, this
and how
house
is that possible?
situation.
I don't think that in Holland there are a lot of unsolved houses, as you put it. Why is that different in Taiwan?
I guess it's also about a habit that people like to own houses, or that they got the like a heritage from grandfather